Revealed, the transformative voice message my son sent to his wife that changed everything for me. Tom's heart sank as the factory gates creaked shut behind him, the familiar sound now echoing like a finality he couldn't escape. 52 years and countless hours spent on the floor, he was now just a footnote in his own life, a once proud provider now grappling with an identity as elusive as the fading dusk. The weight of the layoff settled in his chest like a stone, thickening the air around him. How could he explain this to Sarah? How would he look Jake in the eye? Questions spiraled through his mind, relentless as a conveyor belt, but clarity eluded him. Days dragged on as bills piled high on the kitchen counter, a sharp contrast to the laughter and warmth that once filled their home. He roamed the halls like a ghost, avoiding meals and conversations, retreating into the shadowed corners of a man who used to take pride in his hard work. With each bill that arrived, anxiety clawed deeper, unraveling the threads of his confidence and self-worth. Lost in his turmoil, the walls seemed to throb with a pressure that matched the throbbing in his head, each moment steeped in dread of what the future might bring. Tom often found himself wrestling with an inner conflict. He had always viewed his job as a badge of honor, a measure of his value, not just as an employee, but as a father, a husband. Yet here he was, standing at a precipice, the foundations of his identity crumbling like ash. Jake, with his bright future ahead, was now in a dreadful position of watching his father wither away. How could Tom face him? Guilt surged like a tide, and he placed the blame squarely on his own shoulders. Fear gripped him, fear of failure, of not being the man his family needed. A storm of emotions swirled within, each more unbearable than the last. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. An unexpected jolt hit him that evening as Jake sent Sarah a voice message in a moment of vulnerability, his earnest tone traversing the airwaves, reaching Tom like an unseen force. "Mom, Dad," he began, "I just want you to know how grateful I am for everything you've done for us. The sacrifices, the late nights, it's meant more than I can express. We're a family, and I know things are tough right now, but we need to stick together." Each word trapped Tom in a vice grip, a brutal reminder of what he had lost and of the barrier he had built around himself. As he replayed the message, each sentiment pierced through his defenses, exposing feelings he had buried. Shame coiled around the edges of his heart. Memories of family dinners flashed through his mind, a bittersweet blend of laughter and warmth that felt painfully distant. How had he allowed pride and fear to steal away those moments? The internal battle within him roiled, drowning him deeper in regret. He closed his eyes, grappling with the revelation that he had not only lost his job, but was now losing the threads of connection that once anchored him in his family's lives. The silence settled heavily in the room as Tom, overwhelmed, braced himself against the countertop, willing the storm inside to still. How could he face them now? Jake's words haunted him, echoing in the hollow spaces of his heart, making the distance between them seem insurmountable. With a surge of determination, he knew he had to confront this before it consumed the last remnants of his family bonds. But courage slipped through his fingers, and as he steeled himself for a new beginning, he could feel the walls closing in once more, leaving him dangling on the edge of an uncertain future. The next morning, Tom blinked against the brightness of the sun filtering through the kitchen window, illuminating the remnants of his morning coffee. Each droplet that he sipped tasted stale, mirroring the stale thoughts swirling in his mind. He needed to change. The urgency became palpable, a flickering flame beckoning for action. He had spent too long wallowing in despair, yet taking that first step felt as daunting as the leap from a cliff. He made a decision. Today would not be just another day of avoidance. Today, he would reach out, connect with Jake and Sarah, and confront the growing chasm he felt between them. But how to begin? Questions ricocheted in his mind, battling against a nervous energy that coursed through him. After hours of stewing, Tom found himself pacing the living room, glancing at photographs lining the walls. Jake in his graduation gown, vacations where they were all smiles and laughter, moments encapsulated in time, resonating with warmth. The weight of those memories pushed him forward. A gnawing dissatisfaction nestled deep in his chest. He was not just a relic. There was still life to be lived and connections to mend. Taking a deep breath, he picked up his phone, hesitating momentarily before pressing Jake's contact. The toll of isolation echoed louder than expected as he realized with a jolt that he had to overcome not just his fears, but the very silence he had wrapped himself in. The phone rang, and each chime felt like a step closer to breaking that barrier. "Hey, Dad," Jake answered, his voice a blend of surprise and caution. "Jake, can we talk?" Tom felt his heart pound as he fought against the urge to retreat into his familiar shell of inadequacy. "I want to reach out. I want to be here, with you and your mother." The pause on the other end was deafening. Had he waited too long? Was his voice shaking? But then Jake broke the silence. "Of course, Dad. It's been tough, and I understand. I really do. Just come over when you can." Tom clung to those words as he set about the day with a newfound conviction. He cleaned the kitchen, tidying the chaos that had mirrored his mind. As he washed the dishes, he reflected on every decision that had led him here, pondering the necessity of change. It was not enough to simply exist. He needed to thrive, to embrace every facet of himself, flaws and all. That evening, he found himself sitting across from Sarah and Jake at the dining table. Silence hung in the air, thick with unspoken words. Every bite felt heavy as the dinner progressed, each morsel punctuating the growing tension. Finally, Tom gathered his courage to speak, feeling the stirrings of vulnerability swell inside him. "Look, I realize I've been absent. I've let my job define me, and I haven't been the father or husband you both deserve." Each word felt like a weight lifted, but also a burden born anew. "I want to reconnect. I want you to know I'm here for you, no matter what." Sarah looked at him with a mixture of surprise and hope, while Jake nodded, clearly processing his father's declaration. The air between them shifted slightly. Tensions began to ease, and truths long hidden were ready to emerge from the shadows. But in the depths of Tom's rising determination, a nagging fear lurked. Was this enough? Had the chasm between them truly begun to close, or was it merely a fragile patch? As the evening unfurled into deeper conversations, Tom's heart raced. He knew he couldn't stop here. This was only the beginning of an arduous journey to rediscovering their family ties. He needed to confront the layers of his own failure while challenging his growing sense of agency. Yet, as the laughs began to seep back into the room, he sensed another storm looming, one that could shake the fragile foundation he had only just started to mend. What revelation would emerge next? He could now feel the enormity of confronting an unsteady future, but the true test awaited him on the horizon. Would they emerge as a stronger unit, or would the echoes of the past continue to haunt them? Tom awoke the next morning with a surge of anticipation coursing through him. There was a tangible shift in the air, and his mind was a swirl of possibilities. A sense of urgency to continue on the path he had just chosen fueled him. After a hasty breakfast, he found himself in front of his computer, a relic from years of work life that had become more of a weight than a tool. The keyboard felt foreign beneath his fingertips, but he needed to harness this momentum. His heart raced as he opened an old document, a draft he had created when he first envisioned a more fulfilling career. A spark of inspiration glimmered within those forgotten words, igniting the flicker of hope that had begun to take root in his heart. "Forget the safety net," he whispered to himself, determined to venture into the unknown. The corporate job, though stable, had become an anchor, dragging him back into the depths of complacency. He began to update the proposal, integrating lessons learned from his recent awakening. It was a piece of him he had denied for too long, the call to not just exist, but to create, to share, and to be fully engaged in life. As the hours melted away, Tom lost track of time. Every sentence felt like a step toward liberation, a way of painting over the dull colors of his past with brighter strokes of ambition and purpose. But clarity came with discomfort. Doubts loomed like dark clouds. Could he really make this leap? Would Jake and Sarah support him in this new journey? A sudden vibration interrupted his thoughts. His phone buzzed with a message. Jake's name lit up the screen. "Dad, can we talk later? I have some things I want to share." At that moment, Tom was struck with a chill. The shift in their relationship was fragile, and he feared that confrontation would shatter the rebuilding they had just begun. But he couldn't shy away, not now. "Of course," he replied, willing to face whatever lay ahead. The clock crept forward, each tick amplifying his anxiety. When the door finally opened and Jake walked in, Tom noticed the weight in his son's posture. The warmth of their recent dinner was gone, replaced by tension. "Dad, it's about Mom," Jake began, his voice barely above a whisper. "Things have been tough for her too. She needs you to be more present, and," he hesitated, searching for the right words, "I need you to find out who you are, not just for us, but for yourself." Each of Jake's words struck a chord deep within Tom, amplifying the urgency of his own transformation. This wasn't just about repairing the bond with his family. It was about nurturing his own identity, something he had pushed to the back for far too long. "How am I supposed to do that?" Tom queried, vulnerability lacing his tone. Jake, always perceptive, leaned closer as if bridging a gap. "Start by embracing change, whether it's your job, hobbies, or even just how you express yourself. You're not just a dad or a husband, you are more." In that moment, Tom felt the full weight of his son's words. The time had come to face not only external challenges, but to reflect on internal emotions that had held him captive. But as clarity began to form, another unsettling thought crossed his mind. What if, in seeking his identity and aspirations, he inadvertently drove a wedge deeper into the family he so desperately wanted to heal? The discussions revealed layers of reality previously hidden, but also opened the door to uncharted territories filled with uncertainties. Tom realized that the deeper he delved into understanding himself, the more he risked unsettling the already fragile peace within their family. He understood now he needed not just a plan, but a strategy moving forward. The question was how to strike a balance between his quest for self-discovery and becoming the father and husband they needed. As Jake's gaze implored him to grasp this moment of revelation, Tom's heart raced with the delicious thrill of uncertainty. The next step was clear, but complex. He could embrace the budding desire to reshape his life, or risk losing the connections he had just begun to mend. This was indeed a crossroads. The stakes couldn't be higher. What decision would he make? Would he unearth the courage to follow his aspirations, or would he prioritize the family dynamics at the cost of his own identity? As these thoughts enveloped him, Tom knew the next chapter of his life stood waiting. But what lay ahead was veiled in shadows, ripe with hidden revelations. Tom sat at the edge of the couch, feeling the weight of Jake's words settle over him like a fine mist. Each word resonated, ringing strangely true in the hollow of his chest. He looked at his son, who was waiting, his gaze a mix of concern and earnest hope. How could he be true to himself while remaining the father his children needed? The challenge loomed larger than any corporate project he had faced, charging through his mind like a wild river. The room felt smaller now, suffused with possibilities and questions. Tom noticed the signs of life, the way the afternoon sunlight poured through the window, illuminating dust motes, or how the clinking of silverware from the kitchen signaled Sarah's tireless resolve to keep the household rhythm going. They were comfort zones, yet for Tom, they felt like barricades. Could he still be a part of this world while seeking his own? Silence stretched between them, thickening until it was almost unbearable. An impulse surfaced, a need to respond, to connect. "Jake, do you really think it's possible for me to change who I am?" The question came out with more urgency than he intended. "Dad," Jake said, his tone steady, "you're not changing who you are, you're remembering who you've always been." There was wisdom in his son's words that struck deep. The memory of Tom's younger self, vibrant, passionate, unafraid, flickered beneath the surface. But after years of conforming to expectations, the challenge felt like climbing a mountain of self-doubt. The conversation shifted, meandering into shared stories about life, aspirations, and even failures. It felt as if a dam had broken, allowing both father and son to see beyond personal grievances into a mutual desire for understanding. Each exchanged word chipped away at the wall Tom had built around himself, brick by careful brick. With every story, inspiration flowed, filling the air around them with possibility. Finally, Jake stood up. The weight of their discussion shifted from atmosphere to action. "You need to try, Dad. Start small. What about that social media marketing idea you had? You never followed through with it, and I think it could really take off." His voice carried a hint of excitement, awakening in Tom a sense of dormant ambition. The thought rumbled in his mind, could he really step away from the safety of his corporate routine? The strain of financial security collided with the haunting question, what if his dreams fell flat? "I don't know if I have what it takes. It's been so long since I've done anything like that," Tom admitted, uncertainty threatening to strangle his emerging resolve. Jake took a deep breath. "You're not stepping into the unknown alone. It's okay to be scared. Just take that first step. Even if things don't go as planned, you'll still be growing. I believe in you." With those words, a flicker of determination ignited within Tom. Maybe this was the push he needed, the moment his son wasn't just asking him to be present, but to truly live. It combined fear and excitement, a palpable contrast he couldn't ignore. As the conversation wound down and Jake left the room, Tom sat there with a burgeoning plan in his mind, filled with flickers of creativity. He would explore those past aspirations, his aspirations. What if he created something not just for the sake of survival, but for expression, for purpose? Yet, as thrilling as this revelation was, the gnawing thought returned, a deep-rooted fear of instability and how it might fracture the delicate family balance he had just begun to mend. His fingers hovered over the keyboard as he opened that old marketing draft again, the faded words now seemingly alive, waiting for new breath. Would he truly gather the courage to weave his personal identity into their lives without risking their bonds? The clicking of keys punctuated the silence. Each character became a reminder of the journey he had begun to embark on, a dual path of self-discovery and family devotion. But could he maintain that balance? In the dim glow of the screen, he began to draft his ideas, but even as inspiration flowed, his thoughts twisted with doubt. Little did he know, an unexpected voice message from Jake's phone would arrive soon, one he never imagined would alter his course once more. Would it deepen his commitment to change, or draw him back to the familiar shore of their fragile peace? Tom's fingers stilled as he stared at the screen, a faint glow illuminating his features, while the world around him faded into a blur. He had opened the old marketing draft with the intention to breathe new life into it, but now the weight of his indecision settled heavily upon his shoulders. Just as he prepared to summon the courage to type, his phone buzzed against the coffee table, interrupting the silence. It was a voice message from Jake. The mere sight of his son's name ignited a spark of curiosity, quickly followed by anxiety. What could it be? He pressed play, the familiar warmth of Jake's voice filling the room. "Dad, hey, I just wanted to share something really important that I think could help you. I was talking with Sarah about your marketing idea last night, and she had some great thoughts. I really believe in you, Dad, and I just wanted to encourage you. Anyway, she suggested looking at some local businesses you might want to collaborate with, to jumpstart your ideas. We can brainstorm together, and I can help you with the tech stuff. Talk soon." As he listened, Tom felt a mixture of pride and unease wash over him. Jake believed in him, and that belief was a potent catalyst for change, but it also bore an overwhelming expectation. Could he live up to it? The prospect of venturing into collaboration opened up new possibilities, but the thought of failing in front of his family was daunting. He played the message again, letting the words roll around in his mind like marbles in a jar. Collaborating with local businesses felt like a practical step. He knew that building connections could bring his ideas to life. However, courage was a different beast altogether, lurking just out of reach. What if he stumbled? What if he exposed himself to the scrutiny of people he had long respected? Each replay of the message amplified his conflicted emotions. While Jake's encouraging tone provided a boost of optimism, a deep-rooted impulse resisted the notion of putting himself back out there where disappointment thrived. Hadn't he spent years avoiding the potential for failure? Determined to transform anxiety into action, Tom finally sat up straighter, gripping the sides of his laptop tightly. He would not let fear paralyze him. The idea of collaboration felt like a bridge to the past, where he could reconnect with the ambitious, daring version of himself he had tucked away. With deliberate intent, he opened a new tab, searching for local businesses that aligned with his concept. He scrolled through websites, reading about their services, diving into their stories. As he researched, Tom noticed a familiar spark flickering within him, an excitement not felt in years, the thrill of possibility. Each click led him further down the path of reconnection and self-discovery. But then, disbelief seeped in again. Were these concepts still viable? Would people even want to partner with him? The imposter syndrome crept back into his thoughts, threatening to derail his newfound momentum. Reminding himself of Jake's belief, he quickly scribbled down ideas on paper, embracing the adrenaline of creation. Maybe a partnership could morph into something greater, not only for him, but for the community. The clock on the wall ticked relentlessly. Hours slipped by unnoticed. As he crafted an outline for outreach, a fresh wave of doubt crashed over him. Would they take him seriously? What if they rejected him outright? Facing people in the real world seemed like an entirely different phenomenon compared to typing behind a screen. Just as he limped toward the edge of his resolve, another notification chimed. It was another message from Jake, this time an invitation to join a small business gathering that weekend. An opportunity thrummed within him, urging him to step into the light he had been avoiding. Yet, apprehension gnawed at him, tethering him to fear. Should he go, or was it too soon? The tension stirred inside him like a storm brewing on the horizon, ready to breach the dam of his self-imposed limitations. As Tom leaned back, taking a deep breath, he realized that the moment had arrived for decisive action. The path unfolded before him, but embracing it would change everything. Would he accept this chance to break away from the limits he had set for himself? With his heart pounding, he knew he needed to decide. Should he embrace the vulnerability of stepping out or remain bound by the familiar suffocation of his past? Tom could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him as he sank deeper into his thoughts. This wasn't just about attending a gathering. It was a reckoning with himself, a confrontation with the doubts that had taken root in his psyche. He glanced toward the coffee table where Jake's text lay, a stark reminder that opportunities often came wrapped in vulnerability. Taking a long breath, he rose from the couch, pacing the small living room. It was cluttered with remnants of past ambitions, sketches of marketing strategies, discarded drafts, and forgotten notes. Each step carried a weight of nostalgia mixed with a yearning for something more. Would he let these remnants define him, or would he dare to stride into new territory, stepping onto the path of collaboration Jake had proposed? The thought of meeting other entrepreneurs unsettled him, but also stirred a sense of responsibility. His son believed in him. That faith was a powerful force. What was stopping him? Fear of being judged, perhaps? Or was it the fear of opening up to the possibility of success? In that moment of introspection, Tom caught a glimpse of the man he used to be, bold, eager to take risks. Could that man still exist? Pushing the doubts aside, he grabbed his notebook and started jotting down questions he might face at the business gathering. What value could he bring to a partnership? How would he showcase his ideas? What unique perspective could he offer? With each question, a flicker of determination ignited within him. The self-doubt, that nagging whisper that tried to undercut his aspirations, began to diminish. A plan was forming, a strategic approach to the seemingly monumental leap. After all, if he could articulate his ideas and engage others thoughtfully, what if the response was positive? What if the spark of collaboration did ignite with one of those local businesses Jake had suggested? Sitting back at the kitchen table, Tom turned on his laptop again, his fingers racing over the keys as excitement coursed through him. He began drafting a list of businesses he could potentially contact, writing down their strengths and how he could contribute to their vision. This was not just work, it was an exploration of possibility. He needed to shift his mindset from fearing rejection to welcoming growth. As the ideas started to flow, he felt lighter, almost free. The specter of imposter syndrome still lurked in the corners of his mind, but he refused to let it take control. Instead, he remembered what Jake had said, how his son believed in him and wanted to help. That support became a tether, pulling him toward action rather than retreat. Looking out the window at the twilight sky, Tom realized that attending the gathering wasn't merely an obligation, it was an opportunity for him to break free from the chains of the past. He felt a rush of clarity. This was a chance to create connections, to engage with the present rather than mourn the past. As the night deepened, he sent a quick message back to Jake, confirming his attendance at the gathering. With each word he typed, a sense of belonging began to flourish within him. This was the beginning of a new chapter, one where he no longer had to dwell in his fears, but could nurture the seeds of his ambitions alongside others. With the decision made, Tom turned off his laptop. He felt both the excitement and the tremor of fear within himself, but they intertwined into something richer, hope. Yet deep in his gut, an unsettling thought lingered. What if he couldn't articulate his vision at the gathering? What if all his hard work fell flat in front of actual business owners? The following day held a promise, but it also carried an unease that hung around him like a shadow, urging him to confront what lay ahead. Could he truly rise to the occasion and redefine his narrative, or would he falter under the weight of expectation? As he prepared for the day, these questions loomed larger than ever, setting the stage for what was to come. Tom woke with an urgency that propelled him from his bed. The morning sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow across the disarray of his living room, yet he was no longer daunted by it. Today was different. Today was a test, not just of his ideas, but of who he had become in recent weeks. Yesterday's spark of hope had ignited something deeper within him, a drive to reclaim his passion. After a quick shower and a cup of coffee that he barely tasted, Tom nestled himself at the kitchen table once more. Dressed in a button-up shirt that felt foreign to him now, he flipped open his notebook, studying the list of businesses he had drafted. There was potential there, lines of connection waiting to be drawn. He envisioned each company, their strengths, and how he could align with them, each prospect feeding his growing confidence. Yet, doubt slithered back into his mind like an unwelcome visitor. What if during that first encounter with someone who seemed so self-assured, his confidence waned? What if blank stares met his well-rehearsed pitch? The thought made him flinch inwardly. "Focus, Tom," he whispered to himself, tapping a pen against the table. This moment was about growth, not perfection. In an attempt to anchor himself away from self-doubt, he revisited the questions he had penned the night before. What value can I bring? How will I showcase my ideas? More importantly, who is Tom, the entrepreneur? The words morphed into affirmations. He picked up his pen, scrawling a new line beneath his notes. "I have a unique perspective. There is power in my experiences." This shift in thought felt electric. Feeling the surge of energy, he picked up his phone. He opened the app to record a message, reflecting the urgency of his newfound resolve. "Hey Jake, just wanted to say I'm pumped for tonight. I'm ready to share my vision and find ways to collaborate. Can't wait to see how we can bring our ideas to life together." It felt good to vocalize that excitement. Real progress was being made, and it began to wash over him like a balm. Yet, as he sent the message, a wave of dread followed. Would he actually execute on this newfound clarity? The hours passed swiftly, his mind racing as reminders of the gathering approached. He practiced his pitch aloud, detailing his ideas with passion, imagining the reactions of his audience. Each iteration heightened his sense of belonging in this new world he was stepping into. Still, the voice of fear lingered, asking if he could really face successful entrepreneurs and articulate his vision with the same fervor he felt at home. Before he knew it, the time had arrived. Standing before the door of the venue, Tom's heart quickened as he managed to grasp the handle. The noise from within pulsed with a vibrant intensity, fear mixing with exhilarating anticipation like the thrill of a roller coaster. He pushed the door open, stepping into the warmth, feeling the energy of entrepreneurial spirits in the air. Once inside, he scanned the room. There were people mingling, discussing animatedly, eyes bright with ambition. Each familiar face felt like a potential ally, yet the walls of the place seemed to loom over him, casting shadows of inadequacy that brought back that familiar weight of expectation. As he moved further inside, a pang of longing for reassurance surfaced. Could he stand toe-to-toe with their brilliance? Could he truly encapsulate himself and his vision in front of them and claim his spot? Would he articulate who he was or fumble about like he had at countless gatherings in the past? Before he could surrender to these thoughts, a hand reached out and a bright smile met him. "Tom, I'm glad you made it." Jake's voice cut through the haze. In that moment, his friend's enthusiasm pulled him from a spiral of uncertainty. Tom smiled back, grounding himself in the present. But as conversation swirled around him, the sounds hung heavy in his ears, and he thought again about what lay ahead. How much was he willing to risk for the sake of growth? The question dangled precariously over him as he stood in the crowd, wrestling with the profound choice between safety and the unknown. When would he take the leap into this necessary transformation? Filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation, Tom realized the true journey had only just begun. He needed to seize control of his narrative, and the truth remained uncharted. Could his next choice spell out his first step into a successful reinvention? Tom stood amidst the vibrant crowd, the echoes of laughter and dialogue forming a symphony that threatened to drown out his thoughts. His pulse quickened as uncertainty flickered, but he reminded himself of the affirmations he had written down. There was strength in his perspective, a manifestation of experiences that others could not replicate. He inhaled sharply, the air heavy with possibility. "Just breathe," he muttered to himself. The noise dimmed as he spotted Jake animatedly introducing him to a group. Each handshake he made felt electric, yet beneath it, there was still a questioning voice gnawing at his confidence. What if he froze? What if his ideas fell flat? "Tom, come here." Jake's call yanked him back, breaking through his whirlwind of doubt. He approached the group, forcing a smile, convinced that confidence could be a game he simply decided to play. Jake gestured toward a woman with an intense gaze and a notebook filled with ideas. "This is Sarah. She's been waiting to meet you." "Oh, hi." Sarah offered a warm handshake. "I've heard a lot about your vision for collaborating on local initiatives." The sincerity in her voice was compelling, yet it nudged his anxiety further up his throat. "Thanks, I'm excited too," he stammered. The moment felt pivotal. It was as though the spotlight turned to him, urging him to reveal the thoughts rolling through his mind. Yet he hesitated, afraid of inadequacy. "Tom, come here." Jake's call yanked him back, breaking through his whirlwind of doubt. He approached the group, forcing a smile, convinced that confidence could be a game he simply decided to play. Jake gestured toward a woman with an intense gaze and a notebook filled with ideas. "This is Sarah. She's been waiting to meet you." "Oh, hi." Sarah offered a warm handshake. "I've heard a lot about your vision for collaborating on local initiatives." The sincerity in her voice was compelling, yet it nudged his anxiety further up his throat. "Thanks, I'm excited too," he stammered. The moment felt pivotal. It was as though the spotlight turned to him, urging him to reveal the thoughts rolling through his mind. Yet he hesitated, afraid of inadequacy. "Tell me more about how you envision this collaboration," she encouraged, her expression genuine, urging him to unfold his thoughts. In that instant, a spark of determination ignited within him. Memories of the hours spent crafting his ideas surged forward. He took a calming breath, letting his thoughts align. "I believe there's a real opportunity to connect local businesses with the community in ways that haven't been explored. We can create platforms for them to tell their stories, not just for profit, but to enrich the local culture." His voice steadied with familiarity as he found a rhythm, each word tumbling forth like cascading water. Personal stories intertwined with business goals, the mission morphed from mere strategy to a heartfelt endeavor. Sarah listened intently, and with each passing moment, he felt as if he was stepping deeper into his own skin. But right on its heels, doubt darted back in, cold and invasive. What if she didn't share his vision? What if his ideas were neither original nor compelling? The familiar sting of vulnerability crept in. What if? He plagued himself seethingly. Yet before he could retreat behind his wall, Sarah nodded, a flicker of excitement igniting her words. "That's brilliant. We need more of that genuine connection. I think we can leverage social media for storytelling." She spoke rapidly, voice bright with ideas. For the first time that night, instead of paralyzing fear, Tom felt a concoction of exhilaration and clarity wash over him. This was the very collaboration he craved, the merging of creative minds searching for a shared vision. He didn't pretend to have all the answers, but he was ready to explore this unfamiliar path alongside someone who shared a similar fire. As the conversation flowed, Tom realized there was much more at stake than merely presenting himself as an entrepreneur. He was redefining what it meant to connect with others and live his truth in real time. Each question he posed deepened their exchange. He was learning and growing as they navigated the contours of possibility together. The weight of self-doubt began to lift, replaced by momentum. Hours later, as the gathering started to wind down, Tom reflected on the shift within himself. The uncertainty of that initial moment faded into a sense of potential. He now understood the essence of growth was not simply in standing out, but rather engaging deeply with others. Well, I guess this was a leap worth taking, he thought, as he watched Sarah talk animatedly with other attendees. For the first time that evening, there was a smile of genuine confidence on his face, a marker of his growth and willingness to embrace the unknown. However, shadows loomed ahead. Tom felt a gnawing sensation threading itself through the evening's victory. Perhaps a larger challenge awaited. Jake had just mentioned an influential investor was on the way, someone with far-reaching connections. What would that encounter demand from him? The true measure of his transformation was yet to come, with stakes he had yet to fathom. And a new question crept into his mind. Would he be ready to face the magnitude of what might unfold next? Tom's mind buzzed with anticipation as he replayed the night's events. Despite the whirlwind of ideas they had exchanged, the night's grandeur began to wear away, leaving behind an uneasy feeling stirring in his gut. The prospect of encountering the influential investor Jake had mentioned loomed large. What could he possibly say that would convey his vision with enough impact? He stepped away from the group, seeking solitude amidst the fading vibrancy. The city lights flickered softly in the distance, matching the pulsing uncertainty in his chest. Fear engulfed him like a heavy fog, wrapping around his confidence. Thoughts raced. What if this investor didn't see the value in his ideas? What if the potential connection he had nurtured with Sarah dissipated under scrutiny? A quiet resolve stirred in him. He remembered the exhilaration he'd felt discussing his plans with Sarah. That spark had ignited something within. He couldn't allow his fear to overshadow the growth that had begun to take root. It was time to prepare himself for this encounter rather than cower behind apprehension. Determined, he took out his notebook, his trusty companion, and began jotting down key points. He structured his thoughts into phrases that flowed, blending passion with clarity. As he wrote, he sought to articulate not just the logistics of his ideas, but the deeper meaning, why they mattered, and how they could transform the local scene. With each word, he leaned into the discomfort of vulnerability. He acknowledged that sharing his vision might expose him to criticism, but the path he envisioned was authentic to him. Rather than fearing judgment, I should educate, inspire, and invoke curiosity, he whispered under his breath, a mantra against doubt. Encouraged by the rhythm forming in his thoughts, he returned to the gathering, posture upright and focused. The atmosphere felt electric with the mingling crowds. Scanning the sea of faces, he noticed Jake engaged in conversation. He approached, intent on integrating himself into the ebb and flow of the interactions. "Tom," Jake beamed upon seeing him, "you're just in time. Mark, the investor, should be here soon. Are you ready for this?" Tom paused for a split second. Was he truly ready? The question hung in the air, but he met Jake's hopeful gaze. "Yeah, I'm ready," he asserted, summoning courage from the bottom of his resolve. Minutes ticked by, and as the clock inched closer to their anticipated guest's arrival, Tom's heart raced in tandem. It was a psychological dance between excitement and trepidation, a tightrope walk where each step threatens to pitch him into the abyss of self-doubt. Suddenly, a commanding presence emerged from the crowd, a tall figure with an air of authority. Light glinted off his silver hair, underscoring the astute confidence he exuded. Tom's stomach churned. This was Mark. He had held the reins of major investments and directed substantial projects. Jake introduced them, and an unmistakable weight filled the space. "I hear you've got a bold vision, Tom," Mark said, his gaze piercing but open. The moment teetered on the precipice of possibility. Tom took a breath, channeling every ounce of his newfound energy. "Yes, I do," he replied, his voice steady yet imbued with passion. "I want to create a platform that embodies the spirit of our local businesses, elevating their narratives while enriching the community's cultural tapestry." He felt the initial tremors of self-consciousness begin to dissolve. Mark leaned in, intrigued. as Tom elaborated on his ideas, a shift occurred. Each sentence he delivered not only conveyed his concepts, but revealed the depths of his aspirations, a reflection of the personal transformation he faced. It was exhilarating, yet beneath the surface, a wave of fresh anxiety gathered. What if Mark didn't share his enthusiasm? Tom's words gained momentum, flowing unbound by chains of doubt as Mark engaged, challenging him for elaboration, digging for substance in his proposals. The conversation turned electric, spiraling into discussions of potential impact, funding opportunities, and innovative approaches. In those moments, Tom recognized the empowerment of articulating his vision with clarity, something he had yearned to do. Yet, as the conversation unfolded, a gnawing voice whispered, "What if it all shattered? What if Mark's interest faded too quickly?" A new wave of determination surged through him, manifested through the clarity in his articulation and the confidence he displayed. It wasn't merely about impressing this investor. It was about validating what he believed mattered to him and the people whose stories intertwined with his vision. As the evening stretched on, Tom realized the stakes were higher than he had imagined. This conversation could reshape everything, but the encounter was still tenuous, teetering perilously close to an uncertain conclusion. He had laid himself bare, but would it suffice? Would he be able to conquer the residual shadows of fear looming over him? The tension intensified, and 1,000 possibilities raced through his mind as he sensed the encounter teetering on a critical edge. Yet one question pierced through the chaos. Could he seize the moment and stand tall against the uncertainty that still swirled around him? Tom stood in the shadows of uncertainty, yet the seismic shift within him was undeniable. As he navigated Mark's probing inquiries, clarity fused with fiery conviction. Each response became a brick laid in the foundation of his rejuvenated identity, slowly fortifying the structure of his entrepreneurial ambition. He sensed that he was no longer the man who had crossed the factory gates for the last time, but someone reborn, driven by purpose and a desire for meaningful engagement. The dialogue continued to flow, and with each passing moment, Tom observed a transition in Mark's demeanor. Curiosity lit his eyes as they delved deeper into the nuances of the marketing and collaborative strategies. The nervous feelings that had once gripped his stomach began to evolve into a thrilling concoction of empowerment. This was the essence of what he craved: authentic connection through shared vision and mutual growth. A realization washed over him. This encounter was not merely about impressing an investor. It was about proving to himself that he had the capability to forge his own path. As he articulated his aspirations, he saw the invisible thread binding his vision to the fabric of their community, each word a powerful declaration that he belonged. As Mark leaned back, reflecting on Tom's narrative, silence hung in the air, thick with potential. "You have a compelling vision, Tom," Mark finally said. "There's a market hungry for authenticity, and you're right on the pulse of it. I'd like to explore how we can make this happen." In that moment, a wave of relief washed over Tom. It was affirmation, not just from Mark, but from the world he'd longed to step into. He knew now, without reservation, that he had crossed an important threshold, not just as a professional, but as a man reclaiming his identity and worth. He had performed not just for validation, but as an expression of his authentic self. The evening progressed, and discussions turned to logistics, timelines, and collaborative strategies. Tom found himself no longer burdened by the fear of judgment. Rather, he embraced the challenge of laying out comprehensive plans. Input from Jake and Sarah floated through his mind as he outlined potential partnerships for the very essence of community building. By the conclusion of the gathering, Tom had transformed. Each moment had served as an unshackling of the expectations he had previously placed upon himself, realizing that it was not about losing oneself to the judgment of others, but about thriving amidst the uncertainties. As the conversations dwindled, Tom felt the thrill of accomplishment radiate through him. Outside, the night sky beckoned him, glittering with the promise of fresh beginnings. He stepped outside, inhaling the cool night air, knowing that he was no longer defined solely by his employment or identity as just a father or husband. He was a creator of opportunities, ready to engage actively in the tapestry of life around him. Then he felt the buzz of his phone again. It was a text from Jake, an image of them together that captured the spirit of the night. "Proud of you, Dad. You owned that. Can't wait to see where this leads." A grateful smile spread across his face. A sense of completion enveloped him, laden with an unwavering confidence to explore and forge ahead. This was personal transformation, evident not just in his professional aspirations, but in the strength of the connections he cherished. He stepped into the possibilities that lay before him, collaborations waiting to be formed, a family bond fortified by mutual respect, and a son who saw him for who he could become. Tom was not only ready to embrace the risks and uncertainties of the future, but he was also determined to thrive within them. The man who had once walked the factory floor lay dormant in the shadows of his past. The man who stood before the night, filled with hope and resolution, had finally emerged. He had harnessed his fears, transformed his life, and stepped firmly into the narrative he wanted to write. The next chapter awaited, not merely as a businessman, but as a father who had rediscovered his purpose and worth. The journey would continue, but he was resolute. He would rise to the challenges with the unwavering belief that he could navigate this new path. And as he confidently walked away, Tom realized that the journey to fulfillment wasn't solely defined by reaching the peak, but in every step taken along the way. The courage to confront fears, the willingness to reconnect, and the pursuit to express his authentic self. He was ready for whatever lay ahead. Now is the time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and theories about the powerful ending, because interaction matters more than you think. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion and transform their own lives. Don't wait even one more second to share. This is the moment for true fans of personal overcoming stories to show what community means.